Hey everyone, welcome back to another math video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the geometry concept, law of sines. Let's go ahead and let's get started. So here I have the law of sines written for you that says that for any triangle ABC with side lengths A, B, and C, opposite angles, capital A, B, and C, respectively, the law of sines relates the sine of each angle to the length of the opposite side. That sounds really complicated, but really what it's saying is that we can take the sine of any angle in a triangle. So for example, I can do the sine of A and divide it by the side that's opposite to it, well, lowercase a. I can take that and I can sort of repeat the same thing for every other side of this triangle, and those three things will equal each other. So the sine of capital A divided by lowercase a will equal the sine of capital B divided by the side that's opposite to it, which is lowercase b. And same goes for capital C. I can take the sine of angle that's on capital C and divide it by the side that's opposite to it, which is lowercase c. All right. And we use this to help us find either the missing side of a triangle or the missing side or the missing angle of a triangle. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's actually try to use this with some numbers. That way it sticks a little better and we can see what it looks like in practice. So here I have a triangle. Okay. I got two angles, 22 degrees, 57 degrees, and I got two side lengths, 13 and an X. All right. So obviously here we are searching for that X. We want to find what is this X value. Okay. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to make use of the law of sines that we just saw. And again, all that requires is for us to we're going to take this angle first. We're going to do the sine of 57. And we're going to divide that. 13's on the opposite side, so we're going to divide that by 13. And the law of sine says that that has to equal basically that same pair for any other angle and side combo. So we're going to take the sine of 22 and we're going to divide that by X. So now I have my equation set up. So now all I have to do is solve for X. We can go ahead and multiply by X on both sides. Okay, they cancel out on the right. We're left with X times the sine of 57. That didn't change. Divided by 13 equals the sine of 22, which also did not change. And now we want to single out the X, get it by itself. So fastest way to do that here is going to be to multiply by this fraction here, but sort of the opposite of it. So let's go ahead and multiply by 13 divided by sine of 57. That'll cancel out the 13s, cancel out the signs. And we're allowed to do this. Okay, remember this X is still in the middle. We're allowed to do this as long as we do it to the other side. Looks a little messy, but basically everything on the left got canceled out except our X value. So X is singled out, which is exactly what we wanted. And on the left, we end up getting 13 times the sine of 22. The sine of 22 is really the only thing that did not move throughout this entire problem. And we got the sine of 57 on the bottom. Okay, and you can actually punch this into a calculator and you end up getting that the side length X is around 5.8. And that's how you use the law of sines to find the missing side of a triangle. Now, in theory, we could use the idea that the interior angles of a triangle have to add up to 180 to find this missing angle here. And then we could use the law of sines to kind of repeat the same process and solve for that other side length. But we'll leave that for another time. Right now what we're going to do is we're going to look at another example of using the law of sines, but this time we're going to try to solve for the missing angle. Okay, so here I have another triangle. Now, instead of missing a side length, we're missing an angle. So let's go ahead and let's figure this one out. Again, I'm going to set this up. I got the sine of x. This time, x is inside of my sine. And I'm going to divide that by the side that's opposite to it, which is 16. And we're going to set that equal to the sine of 68, because that's my other angle. And we are going to divide that by the side that's opposite to it, which is 22. So now, again, we're allowed to do this because of the law of sines. And now we're just going to go ahead and try to get our x by itself. So we're going to multiply by 16 on both sides. Cancel out here. I'm left with the sine of x is equal to the sine of 68 divided by 22. And now we have it times 16. And now we're actually going to go ahead and calculate this on the right. We're going to get sine of x equals, on the right hand side, I'm going to get a 0.674. If you use a calculator, you'll see that that's what you get. I'm rounding just a little. And now the question becomes, how do I get rid of the sine on my x? I want to isolate x, but it's inside of a sine. So how do we get rid of that? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to make use of the sine inverse function. The sine inverse, which looks like this, sine inverse of x. Okay, if we take the sine inverse of something, especially when we take the sine inverse of a sine function, it ends up canceling out the sine function. And what you end up being left with is whatever was inside here, which is exactly kind of what we're looking for. So we're going to take the sine inverse of each side. So I'm going to do the sine inverse of sine of x. And that will equal the sine inverse of 0.674. So on the left side we get x. On the right side, if you do that correctly in your calculator, you end up getting 42.4, which is our missing angle. And that's how we use the law of sines to find our missing angle from a triangle. So hopefully now you feel like you can add the law of sines to your sort of tool belt or toolkit of how to solve some of these problems on triangles that are asking us to find either a missing side or a missing angle. If you fully understand this, awesome. If not, definitely try to go back, rewind, rewatch, comment in the section if something you want me to further explain to you. I have no problem doing that. But once you feel comfortable with the law of sines, definitely stay tuned for this next video that's going to be on the law of cosines. We'll look at that rule and kind of apply it so that we can use it for our advantage. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope you learned some math, and I'll see you guys next time.